Even after maxing out your entire deck in Clash Royale, it can still take months to get all the EVOs. Clash Royale only offers 2 free EVO shards per season in the Pass Royale. In this video, I will be sharing with you the 5 best decks you can run without any EVOs. But before we get into it, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Let's get into the video now. For the number 5 slot, I've nominated Pekka Bridge Spam. This is a deck that I've been playing for years. It's a deck that's dear to my heart. It's the first deck that ever got me to Ultimate Champion way long ago. I'm actually pushing up to 15,000 trophies on my second account, which is at, I think, 11K right now. I'll show it on screen. And just to be sure, I don't have any EVOs on that account, and it's a little bit under leveled. So I can vouch for this deck being good from personal experience. A few substitutions that you can make are Poison for the Fireball and Minions for the Magic Archer. The Magic Archer is going to have that extra splash, but if you have the Poison, throw in those Minions, especially with the Minions buff recently, it would be incredibly good. Magic Archer isn't in the best spot right now in terms of strength of the card, but I think it's due for a buff, and this deck could potentially see a comeback in the next few metas. And let me tell you, this deck is extremely OG. This is one of the old school meta Pekka decks that you would see back in 2019, 2018, 2017 even. And since the release of the Magic Archer, it has always been strong. You can get those nice little Magic Archer lineups. Also, Pekka is extremely strong against Golems, Goblin Giants, E-Giants, Giants, whatever you want to say. It is very strong against it. And it's actually an incredible tank killer overall. With your Bandit, Ghost, and Battle Ram, you're able to apply insane pressure all the times, and it's key and critical to split lanes with your pressure. You can go Bandit, Ghost on one, and Battle Ram on the other, depending on what cards they have. If you do actually have EVOs for this deck, I would recommend using the EVO Zap and the EVO Barbarian Ram. And this is because that EVO Zap is going to allow for resets that are even stronger than just a single Zap. And the EVO Pekka doesn't get as much value in this specific deck. However, if you do have the EVO Pekka, it is a good opportunity to use it in this deck. And if you don't, that's okay. This deck is still extremely strong without EVOs. The one downside to this deck is that it really struggles against Log Bait and Hog Rider decks like Hog Earthquake with the Firecracker. It's just not as strong against those. But for pretty much every other matchup, there's plenty of outplay potential, and you should be able to do it. Don't play this deck like a beatdown deck. Play it like a bridge spam deck and spam that bridge. Anyways, let's get on to the next one. In our number 4 slot, we have the tried and true Hog 2.6. Anyways, 2.6 Hog Cycle has snuck into my top 5 videos for almost every single one of them for a very good reason. It has incredible outplay potential, and even when you have bad matchups, there's still ways to beat it. In the end, it is one of the most iconic decks in the game. And I know players who don't even play Clash Royale, and I guess that wouldn't make them players, but they know about this deck. That's how important it is to this game. It is even more OG than Pekka Bridge Spam. This deck was created in 2016 by an unknown legend. It is incredibly valuable to learn how to play this deck for a number of different reasons. This deck will always be good in the meta, no matter what meta it is, and it has proven that time and time again with good results, players in the top 1,000 playing it almost every season. Even when Hog Rider isn't the strongest in the meta, Hog 2.6 is still a viable option. This deck can hone in your defensive skills. It can teach you how to pressure while defending, and it honestly just gets you better at the game. So definitely learn how to play this deck if you don't already. The strategy behind this deck is to defend with your Ice Spirit, Skeletons, and Cannon and Musketeer, keep it cheap, and then pressure opposite lane with a Hog Rider as soon as you can. Cycle to your Hog Rider before they cycle back to your counters. Unfortunately, this deck does struggle against Graveyard and some beatdown decks, but once again, it still has outplay potential. And whether or not you're up against a bad matchup, you're still going to be able to beat it sometimes. If you do have EVOs, I would recommend the EVO Musketeer and the EVO Cannon because they are just incredibly good. The EVO Musketeer can snipe down buildings, snipe down troops from across the map, and give you infinite positive elixir trades. But if you don't have those EVOs and you have EVOs Ice Spirit, EVOs Skellies, those are still strong as well, and you could use them. But this is for no EVOs video, so if you don't have any EVOs, it's still a great deck. Don't even sleep on it. All right, let's get into the next one. In the number 3 spot, I've nominated my own homemade balloon cycle deck. I have another free-to-play account that's at 7,500 trophies that's using this deck, and I'm absolutely dominating against higher level players. I'm only using one Evo, but you don't even need it. It's the Evo Knight. It has insane outplay potential, and it is incredibly good for beating over level players because the combination with the Ice Wizard, the Tornado, the Goblin Hut, and the Knight, it just creates incredible defense, and the balloon is incredibly good for punishing your opponents when they make mistakes. It's pretty bold of me to include a homemade deck in this list, but if you haven't tried it, go give it a try, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. It works so well. And mind you, on my account that I use it, I'm a level 11 facing up against constant level 13s and 14s, and I usually win anyways. Playing this deck will ensure that you get better at the game and progress in skill. Like any cycle deck, it can be incredibly hard to learn, but with practice and time comes perfection. Anyways, let's get on to the next one. In the number 2 slot, I've nominated Hog Earthquake. Hog Earthquake was in my free-to-play deck series, and it's just a fundamentally solid deck. No matter how many times they nerf Firecracker, it is still going to be able to get chip damage on the tower, and they almost never balance the Hog Rider for a good reason. It's balanced, and it's strong as well. You could always count on the Hog Rider for being good in any meta. There's almost no meta where it isn't. Even without the Evo Firecracker and the Evo Tesla or Evo Cannon, maybe even Evo Skellies, you don't really need it because the deck concept is the same with the Firecracker chip, Earthquake on their building, and get the Hog to the tower that way. The basics are exactly the same as Hog 2.6, except for the way the Fireball is used differently than the Earthquake. Use Earthquake on buildings, use Fireball to take out tanks. You can't really, or not tanks, sorry, support troops and stuff. But the Earthquake doesn't really do a great job in taking out the... However, it's actually a decent matchup against Graveyard because of the Earthquake. If you like Hog Rider decks, this deck makes Hog Rider interesting. I promise you. Give it a try. It is worth it. No matter what, every deck has its struggles, and this deck is going to struggle against Golem, and it will struggle against Lava Hound, especially Lava Hound because it doesn't really have the best air defense at all. If you want, and you're facing a lot of Lava Hound or air decks, swap out the cannon for a Tesla, or vice versa if you need more ground defense and a quicker cycle. Let's get on into the next one. For the number 1 deck, I've nominated Minor Poison. The reason it's number 1 is not because I think it's objectively better than any of the other decks I've mentioned in this video. However, it's because you truly don't need any EVOs to make it work. It really doesn't rely on them at all. Yeah, you could use the EVO Wall Breakers, you could use EVO Skellies, whatever you want, but it doesn't really need them in the end. Obviously, it will make them stronger though, so if you have the EVOs, why are you even watching this video? Overall, it has incredible outplay potential, and you can pretty much beat any matchup in the game. Once you learn how to play this deck, it will teach you how to defend on low elixir and pressure with cheap offense. Strategy is to use your 2 elixir pressure cards like the Wall Breakers, the Bats, or whatever, honestly. You could throw in a bush, you could throw in spear goblins, you could throw in whatever you like. But the point is that the minor tanks and the pressure cards spank. Are you following me? You're not meant to take more than 1 tower using this strategy. You're supposed to slowly chip them down throughout the entire game, coupled with perfect defense against their pushes. The deck I've shown on screen is a great example of a good minor poison deck, but you can always swap things out if you feel like it. And that is another reason why I've nominated it as number 1, because there's almost a million different versions of this deck that are solid and work, and they will always work. You could even play around with a little Magic Archer plus a Tornado if you wanted to. If you have a champion, throw in that Mighty Miner as well. It's an incredible tank killer. However, every deck has their weakness, and it will definitely struggle against beatdown like usual. But overall, you need to give this deck a try. And if you haven't, learn how to play it. It's one of those fundamental decks that Clash Royale has been using for years now. If you end up getting some value out of one of these decks that I shared in this video, please share it with me down in the comments. And if you are free to play, go and check out my free to play 5 best decks video. It is a banger and it has 5 of the best decks. You will not be disappointed. Anyways, I gotta thank everyone for almost 1,000 subscribers. We might even hit it today. I don't know, but that is the beauty of YouTube. You can never give up. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And if you didn't subscribe, go subscribe. And if you didn't subscribe after that, you're an op. You're a total op. And Kevin's not getting fed. I'm just kidding. Kevin will always get fed. But every subscriber is 1 extra treat for Kevin. Anyways, peace out. Bye.